All right, hello, and we are now in our exponential modeling part of your MDE 54. So over here, we're going to start by the rules of exponents. So before we get into all those exponential models, just what are exponents in general? So if you have, say, 2 cubed, that's the same as 2 times 2 times 2. That tells you how many times you multiply that base number. So exponents is just another way of writing our multiplication. So if you do 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, that would be 5 to the 4th. So that number up here is the exponent, tells you how many times you're multiplying. The 5, for example, is the base. So it says multiply 5 by itself 4 times. So we've got a few rules of exponents that definitely come in handy. The first one is that anything to the 0 is 1, except for 0 itself. So if you have 1,000 to the 0 power, it's 1. 2 to the 0 power is 1. If something is raised to the first power, you get it back out because you're only multiplying yourself once. So it's 2 one time, which is 2. If you have a negative exponent, it means move it or invert the fraction. So for example, 2 to the negative 3 is 1 over 2 cubed. But if it's on the bottom, it goes up to the top. So the negative means move to the other side of the fraction. Product rule. All right, so what a product rule is, say you have 2 to the 3rd, 1, 2, 3, and you multiply it by 2 to the 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's still all multiplication, so you have 8 2's total, so you add them together. So that's a pretty helpful rule. You're just continuing, so you add the exponents. Quotient rule is where you subtract the exponents. And if you're never not sure, just write it out. If I have 2 to the 5th and 2 to the 3rd, 3 will cancel, leaving me with 2 to the 5 minus 3, or 2 squared. But if you have an exponent to an exponent, now you multiply them together. So just a couple quick rules that you might want to review if you're not as sure with them. I've got a few more on the next page. So continuing with those exponents. If you have anything in parentheses, like 2ab, for example, and you raise it to a power, that power goes to everything. You distribute it. So 2 cubed, a cubed, b cubed. So just note that rule. Same if it's a fraction, it goes to everything. Anything in the parentheses gets it. So if this is also divided by 3, then the 3 also gets cubed, if all that was in parentheses. And then finally, if it's raised to a negative number, that means flip the fraction and then give the power to everything. So if it's a over b to the negative 2, flip it and then give that 2 unnegative to everything. Are you going to see that a whole lot in this course? Probably not, but just note that it's there. So what I want you to do next now is fill in the table right here and see if you can do them. Okay, so here we go with these. Again, make sure you do them on your own first to try this out. So with the 3, it was 2 times 3, 2 cubed, 3 times 2 squared. I'm sorry, 3 times 3 squared, and then 3 times 3 squared. So this one was 9 squared, 3 times 9, 8, etc. So really looking at how those exponents work. This one is really 9 times x squared, because the 2 also goes to that, where this one is not. So this one would be 4, 2 times 2. 2 squared is also 4. 3 times 2 squared is 3 times 4, which is 12. And this one would be 9 times 2 squared, which is 36. Okay, and then the 1 would be 2 times 1, 2 to the 1, 3 times 1 squared, and 9 times 1 squared. So not as much going on in that one. 2 times 0 is 0, but 2 to the 0 is 1. 3 times 0 squared is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. So only one of those didn't go to 0. All right, and then for the negative side, all right, 2 to the negative 1 makes it 1/2. Oh, that was this one, I apologize. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Over here, 3 times 2 to the negative 1 is 3. I inverted the numbers, my apologies. Right here would be 3 times negative 1 squared. Negative 1 squared is 1, so 3 times 1 is 3. And then this one would be 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 squared is 9. Squaring a negative always makes it positive. Okay, let's do the negative 2 now in a different color so you can follow me. All right, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 2 to the negative 2 is 1 over 2 squared, or 1/4. 3 times negative 2 squared. The squared gets rid of the negative, so it's 3 times 4, which is 12. And then up here, 3 times negative 2 squared is 6, 36. And you're seeing that for the most part, it does the same thing as up here, just where the negative went in. So for the negative 3 one, it's negative 6, 1 over 8, 27, and 81.